So hello everyone, I'm Tofu, and we're starting a new island on a brand new console. So this is indeed the Switch2, so we're going to be starting obviously a new island as I said, and yeah, I'm going to skip through obviously all the character customization, and we'll get onto the map selection and obviously discussing what this island will be. Okay, so while I quickly just go through this customization section, I guess I'll just go over what I want to achieve with this new island. So I've been kind of umming and ahhing about what I wanted to do, and I really wanted something very narrative driven. So I had a crime core island and I want something kind of akin to that. And I wanted something kind of apocalyptic. I was thinking maybe like a little bit Lovecraftian, but I think overall I'm going to go with a western/desert theme, but a bit of a ghost town. So it's been abandoned, it's like semi-trash core. And yeah, it was mostly a gold or mining, like prospect town, and then it's succumbed to the elements or economic downfall, something like that. And the villages that are left are just the remnants of what was a prospering town for the mining industry. So I do have plenty of villagers in mind that could fulfill various roles on this island, but obviously we're on the map selection screen now, so let's see if there's anything that catches my eye. And to be honest, the top two seem pretty interesting. Okay, I think I'm going to go with the one on the island just because the resident services is a little bit more central to the airport. Obviously it's on the right hand side a little bit, but I think there's a good amount of space on the left hand side, and that little island's kind of cute. I don't imagine that we'll keep the rivers how they are. We're obviously going to be doing quite a bit of terraforming, but we'll see how it goes. So while we've got this cutscene, I guess I'll just go over the various villages that I think could be good for this type of narrative-driven island. So with it being a western and desert theme, something I've never done before, naturally Cody is a cowboy villager, or dresses like a cowboy, so he makes sense. It seems like an obvious choice. As for villagers that I think would work in like a desert or western town, you've got Annabelle, Phoebe, Sandy, Walt Jr., Apollo, Avery, or Buzz. Like, they all seem like they would live in a hot environment. I think Clay, Bones or Cole would work just because of a bit of play on words, and they all named after something that can be dug up, basically. Obviously Cole is not spelt that way, but you know, like I said, it's a play on words. Rizzo I think could work as a outlaw who's using the town to lay low from the law. Anchor makes sense again, lives in a hot environment and she loves gold. We could then have Cobb or Petrie, who is a scientist and works for an environmental agency and is trying to move on the other villagers that have refused to move at this point. And then I was thinking a cowfolk of some description, so Patty, Angus or Rodeo. And Rodeo could work and make things really interesting because he's got a bit of a culty look, and so maybe he did something like occultish, and that has kind of condemned the town. But we did the flyover. We have pears as our starting fruit. We've got Rocket and Billy as our starters. I'm going to double check that is Billy. It indeed is. So as far as the starters are concerned, I'm not happy at all. Frankly. But, you know, I'm going to change them over, so it's fine. I have gone with a Southern Hemisphere island, so just to be a little bit different, and I have set the time on the Switch to March, so we're going to be going into the fall season. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule as far as the actual seasons, because I am from the UK, so it's obviously summer here. But yeah, I just fancied a little bit of change. Like I said, new console, new island, new season. Let's do this. So obviously our brave and intrepid trio, being myself, Billy and Rocket, are all listening into our glorious leader Tom Nook, and he's obviously going to explain what we need to get this island started. I absolutely love the early days of this game. It's just so much fun. This is only my 7th island which I've ever done on New Horizons, which might sound like a lot to some people, but I've been playing consistently for the 5 years plus that this has been released, so 7 islands doesn't seem like a lot to me. Especially bearing in mind the fact that I had my very first island ever on this game for about 3.5 years. And so really a big portion of this has come about basically since I started recording. But anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's talk to our main man Tommy here with the flag. I always choose him because he's got the flag, no other reason. He's obviously going to go as our tent. We're also going to get the map from him, and let's find a place to plonk down our home. So I haven't really explored any of the islands so far. I'm just going to talk to Timmy just so that he doesn't feel left out. You know, I'm not against either of them. I just always choose Tommy because he's got a flag, and that makes him stand out a little bit. Plenty of weeds, obviously. Here's Rocket. I really don't like Rocket, so I'm hopefully going to be able to trade her off at some point. We've got pears as our starting fruit. I generally tend to put my house on the beach here, but let's maybe think of somewhere else. It's a little bit different. Billy's right there as well, so they're very close together. This is a nice stretch of beach, so maybe all the villagers will go here. Cute little pond to the right of the island. So in typical Tofu fashion, I guess I'm going to put the player home on this little small section of beach here to the left of the airport. And I'll probably put the villager homes to the right on the beach as well. Just makes, you know, designing the island a little bit easier when we eventually get to the terraforming. I set up my tent. That's a big first step. I love this game, like so much. Right, let's talk to our villagers. Obviously, we'll give them a helping hand regarding their tents. Wait, I got it. Don't tell me. You're Tofu, right? See? I told you I had it. I'm Rocket. I know. Unfortunately, I don't like you, Rocket. But, you know. You're doing a service, I guess. You're keeping the island safe with your superhero powers and abilities. Okay, so with Rocket's tent, we will run over to this right-hand beach and obviously plonk it down around here. Let's try and go about here-ish. Might have to push it back a little bit. Oh no, it's perfect. Fantastic, that's Rocket's home done, and now obviously we've got to go talk to our cool friend Billy over here and do the same for him. Yo, I'm Billy. You're Tofu, right? Nice to meet you, dagnabbit. So I have had Billy before. In fact, he might possibly be on my rainbow-themed island, which is my current island that I've got on my other Switch. Obviously not the Switch2, but yeah, my regular Switch. I always forget that he's there. But he was brought onto the island as a orange villager. I do need to replace him at some point on that island. But for now, I think he works. He's a pretty cute boy. Hopefully I'll actually remember that he's on this island though, as opposed to the rainbow themed one. Okay, so off he runs, and let's obviously do the same for him as we did for Rocket. So I guess we'll try here. I'm generally not very good with placing the tents, so there we go. I messed up the first time. Cool. Second time's got the spot correct. Fabulous. So both our villagers are on the beach. We've got enough space on the right hand side. And now I guess I'll zoom off to the plaza. I do love Tom Nook just here. He's like, brand new island, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to throw a party. Obviously he makes, you know, you the player do all the hard work by getting all the supplies, like the various fruits and the sticks to make a campfire and things, but, you know, he's got his priorities right. So the first thing we do, we're not going to clear a space for, you know, your guys' homes. We're going to make you do that, and we're going to sort out this party. We're going to organise the party. Gathering can be a tough workout. Just pace yourself and get what you need. You got this, dagnabbit. Oh, well, thank you, Billy. So reassuring. Wait to get those materials. That campfire is going to be crackling in no time. Vroom. Ugh, I don't like you, Rocket, and I don't like your catchphrase. Oh, I shouldn't be mean, but yeah, Rocket's probably one of the least liked Uchi villagers that I could have got. But hopefully she won't be on the island for too long, but it's fine. Shh. Anyway, Tom Nook thinks that we need 10 tree branches, so naturally I'm going to gather that up along with the various pears that we need. I think we need 6, but I'll gather more than that just to make sure. I love this sunset glow as well. It's just like so cozy, so beautiful. It's so much fun, just like the early days of this game. Okay, so I've picked up all these sticks, all the stone that is just available loose on the island, and I've gathered about 15 pears or so, so that's easily enough. And I also have a few little materials to make some things as well. So when we eventually get the ability, we'll make an axe, a flimsy fishing rod and net, things like that. But yeah, Tom Nook is impressed by my prowess of gathering sticks, and he'll obviously take them off of my hands and do the quote-unquote hard work now, of setting up the fire. Why thank you, Tom Nook. I am a hard worker. Thanks for noticing. But now we obviously need a snack. Luckily I gathered up like 3 times as much pears as you needed. They look like pears, they smell like pears, they even taste like pears. What could they be? Genuine pears! Who'd have thought? So now let's get started with the festivities, now that Tofu has collected all the various bits and bobs. So now obviously we're coming up to the naming part of the video. So I've got a small idea for this. And generally, as it's a western / desert theme, and I was thinking of like a gold mining prospect town, something like that. I'm thinking something along the lines of California. So obviously the California gold rush happened in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and I'm pretty inspired by that, but I didn't want to just naturally call it California because that just seems a bit lazy, so I thought California. It's also a little bit of a kind of gold prospecting kind of type of person that would just say it in a weird way, like, I'm going to California. Rocks a lot on Swoleville. You all have terrible naming decisions. No wonder Tom Nook chooses mine. Well, they supposedly vote, but you know, he chooses. And obviously, thanks to my amazing naming abilities, Nook has entrusted me as the resident representative of the island, so much like the campfire, the gathering of sticks and the pears and things, I'm going to be doing all the work. But naturally, you know, cowboys, western desert town, howdy's got to be the way I go, right? Howdy. I have no idea what that accent was meant to be. I'm sorry for anyone that's offended by my terrible American-esque accents that I'm doing. Well, enough of that. Let's obviously talk to Nook and get our camping cot, and we can go have our fever dream of KK just serenading us as we sleep, and move on to the next day. Hey, don't mind me. I'm just a new dog in your dreams. And what a beautiful, glorious day. Hope you had a pleasant nap, or well, I suppose it was more than a nap, wasn't it? It's a brand new day. And obviously here's our bill. The horrible, dreaded bill. This includes everything: airfare, accommodation, labour, tax, and of course your Nook phone, bringing your grand total to a modest sum of 49,800 bells. But what are bells? Would be a little bit of a challenge to actually raise 50 grand just by selling the various, you know, weeds, fruit, seashells that you've got on this small part of the island. But I don't know, I guess I'd prefer that to having to use up, was it 5,000 Nook miles? I know you get them relatively easy in the early game, just because obviously everything's new. So pretty much everything you do will get Nook miles to start with. But they become so valuable, especially when you are then trying to unlock all the terraforming and things. That's a lot of Nook miles you need for every pathing. Obviously for the cliff and waterscaping as well. That's a lot. And now we've been let free to do what we want on the island. Ah, beautiful. And the very first thing I'm going to do is open the mail, which is a gift from Nintendo. Let's place that in our pocket. We'll throw the letter away so we don't have the beeping of the mailbox. And is this the recipe for the DIY bench? That's right. So on my other Switches, I do have the DLC installed, so I would also generally get a photo of the Happy Home Paradise team as well. But I don't have that on this Switch, because this is a brand new profile, and yeah, I just haven't attached the DLC. I haven't bought the DLC for this particular console yet. I'm sure I will at some point, but for the moment, it's just going to be kind of fun playing this without the DLC items. I do have the other two switches, so my OLED Switch and my original Switch, which I currently have both islands still. So I have access to all those items anyway. It's not like they're lost to me forever. But I got distracted because I saw Tommy walking around with Flag, and he looks adorable walking through all these weeds, and yeah, I can't help myself. I really wish they just walked around a little bit on the island once resident services, once the shop and everything, all of that stuff is actually up and running. It would be nice to just see a few of them walking around. Like, you know, every now and again you'd see Sable or Mabel walking around, like having a break. Just make things feel a little bit alive, you know. But we got our first bit of money from shaking that tree. Hopefully you can't get stung. Probably can, but we'll see. I'll just shake a load of trees and hopefully we'll get lucky, manage to find a bit of furniture, not get stung. If the bees or wasps come out of one of these trees, then obviously I'm going to have to hightail it to resident services, like now. Oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. Okay, we've triggered the cutscene. A little bit earlier than I wanted to, but that's fine. Obviously we had to get rid of the wasps, so... As you can see, it's quite cozy in here, and it's funny how cozy doesn't always mean comfortable, I would love to be able to make a net or something like that so I can catch wasps and not get stung. It's been a long old time since I've actually been stung by wasps, unless I do it very purposely to get the Nook Miles for getting stung. But he just mentioned his DIY workshop, so I guess we'll talk to him and get that sorted, just because we're already here, so it makes sense to do that. So it's a little petty thing, but I like how in the original thing, obviously, if you gather the sticks, if you gather all the fruit as well, he's then like, oh, you found all the fruit before I needed it. Whereas this time he's like, you need some sticks. But he doesn't say like, oh, you've got the sticks. He then says, you know, talk to me once you've got that. Like, understandably, if you didn't have it, that would make sense to have that dialogue, but why not just notice the fact I've got it in my inventory? I don't know, it's a very petty thing, but there's little things I think they could easily just speed up in this game. Let's just make ourselves a net whilst we're here as well, so that way we're ready for anything this island can throw at us. I've already just tried to use my ring tool, which doesn't exist in this game yet. But yeah, we're obviously going to catch our first bug of the island, which is a yellow butterfly. Alright, first fish of the island, what's it going to be? Probably a black bass, it usually is. 3, 2, 1, what do we think? Oh, it's a tilapia? Yes. It's been so long since I've done any fishing or bug catching, honestly, that I kind of forget the names of all the bugs. And we just caught a tiger butterfly. Oh, the fish are biting really quickly today. And then we get a mackerel. A horse mackerel. Fantastic. So that is our 5th critter. So that's technically all we need to then talk to Nook and get the museum underway. And obviously he would then talk to Blathers. But I'm just going to fill my inventory with a few other things. And yeah, hopefully we'll make some money by selling anything that we obviously catch doubles of. Or we could just put anything else aside for when Blathers does eventually get here. I think he needs 15 critters or something like that. So yeah, it'll make good progress for that section. Oh, butterfly fish. So for anyone that has also got a Switch 2, how are you enjoying it so far? And what games did you end up getting as a release title? So I ended up getting the Mario World bundle. Or Mario Kart World, I should say. Mario World's a different thing altogether. But yeah, I have played it a little bit. I actually played it on Sunday. So I got it on Thursday when it first released, and I didn't have a chance to pick up the Switch until Sunday. But then I ended up playing like 5 or 6 hours of the game, so clearly I was enjoying it. It just looks really pretty. It's loads of fun. I love the hectic nature of the long endurance races, where you just get kind of a few people knocked out, like as each, I guess, lap, or each checkpoint, I should say, comes around, and then it just gets a lot more hectic as you get closer and closer to the finish line. I want that dragonfly, I want all the dragonflies, but they know me, they know what's coming, and so they bolt over the river. I'm outsmarted by dragonflies. Haha, this one fell into my trap. A random thing, just in case anyone is worried, I am obviously playing this simultaneously to my rainbow themed island. I still have my sheep themed island, or my all sheep island I should say. And so it's going to be current with the rainbow themed island. My sheep island obviously got finished, and I'm going to be using that as essentially a treasure island. That's going to be my way of getting the various bits of furniture, especially anything from the Happy Home Paradise. But yeah, now we've got to go through the kind of a bit of a painful slog of giving Nook these 5 creatures and getting all the various items that he's going to give as a gift to us. And then we can talk to Timmy, who's in the foreground, kind of hidden by the speech bubble. But we'll see various wares he has for sale and how much money he'll give for the duplicate bugs and fish we have. And that was the 5th and final creature, so naturally he gets a phone call. Very convenient. Blathers, is that you? Oh, what splendid timing. It's uncanny, really. Let's quickly just talk to Timmy here. Like I said, I want to see his wares and see if he'll buy the his spare horse mackerel and the red dragonfly that we have in our inventory. So we have a lawn chair and a smoker. Okay, so we're going to clear a very small patch just outside of our tent and plant these flowers down. So there's not that many weeds here at all. Then we'll quickly just go through our Nook Miles and see what we have unlocked. And yeah, hopefully we'll be halfway there as far as the 5,000 that we need. I should really do the fishing and the bug catching a lot more. But I get so entwined with the designing of the island, our, you know, villager hunting. Yeah, it's just fun playing this game. Fantastic. And there should be plenty of space for the Able Sisters or the shop on the right hand side as well. And I keep trying to use the tool ring. Oh, that's really bothering me. I just wanted to catch the grasshopper or whatever it is. Where's it gone? There you are. You've evaded me for the last time. Okay guys, so I've pretty much done everything I can on the first day, besides the de-weeding and gathering materials, but I'll make sure that I do that off camera. Then we'll move on to the next day. Obviously we'll have Blathers in his brand new museum tent, and we'll be able to try and move Timmy and Tommy into their brand new shop. See you there. Pop, hit, and chop. So here we are on day 2, and as you can see, the entire area has been de-weeded, and so it's very plain and boring. But I have got an inventory full of pears and just an absolute butt ton of weeds. I do have a little pile down here of materials that we've collected, so various woods and obviously the iron, stone and clay. And I'm going to go and sell the various bits of pears and weeds that we've got to Timmy, because obviously when we do need the pears eventually, when we try and bring in the first 3 villagers, we've got plenty on the other side of the island. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. And even if I was worried, you can technically buy them from Timmy, so it would be a bit of a pain because we'd be using up money, but there we go. Okay, let's see how much this makes us. 9,632 bells. Good stuff. I did have a little bit more than I had previously, just because I found a money rock when I was bashing the rocks for materials. So I managed to get a good 4,000 out of that. And let's see what's for sale. And at the very least, I'm going to buy the slingshot recipe so I can shoot down balloons. Still got a smoker and there's a toolbox, which I'm not really interested in either. So let's buy the slingshot recipe. Absolute bargain at 300. Cool, and now we can obviously pop the balloons and get bits of random furniture and clothing and recipes and what have you. It's all good. And so doing all the tasks off of camera, I've managed to then collect slightly over 5,000 Nook Miles, so I can actually pay off this loan and move into a house. Making progress. All good. Absolutely wipes out my Nook Miles, but you know, that's what they're there for. And now I've got to talk to Nook about actually moving into a home as opposed to a tent. It's a classic Tofu move to completely forget about it, and then next time we skip forward a day, I would still be in a tent and I would be very confused. I forget that upgrading up to the house is the way that you actually get the Nook Mile Plus feature. it's, yeah, all good, and obviously helps with the whole gathering Nook Miles. Anyway, let's talk to Blathers, and we've also got Gulliver right outside the tent, which is just very useful. So we'll help him in a bit, but obviously I'll need a vaulting pole and a shovel first. I still love the inside of this tent. It's so good. I just wish that we could have a tent like this. Like, the aesthetic's amazing. And here we are getting the vaulting pole. So we also got the shovel recipe from Blathers just then as well. And we need 15 various bits and bobs. So obviously critters, the sea creatures, and the fossils. So I have what looks like 11 there. So if I gather the fossils, that should be enough. And the first leap over the river is always a glorious one. Oh, there's a whole new world to be explored out here. But first, let's obviously dig up this fossil. Nice. I do like this little island. It's pretty cute. By the way, random question, but what do we think of Billy? Because I've already said this, I'm probably going to get rid of Rocket. Like, I don't really like Rocket. But I kind of like Billy. And the fact he's got Dag Nabbit as a catchphrase, it sounds very prospectory. I guess if there's any other villages that you think that would fit in for a western ghost town setting, then yeah, feel free to shout them out in the comments. Okay, so with that carp that we got, that is the 15th thing that we needed, along with the fossils and rest of the critters and fish. So I'm going to power through Blathers' dialogue and get the museum upgraded. Okay, so I've had a little technical difficulty, and for some reason I've lost a little bit of footage. So I have actually given Blathers here all 15 items, so we've sorted on that front. But we also woken up and have rescued from this beautiful tropical paradise that I'm not sure that he'd want to leave, Gulliver here. So obviously he'll be sailing off to pastures new and sending us a reward for doing him a service. Yeah, I'm not really sure why I lost that footage, but there we go. I guess these kind of things happen every now and again. Oh, is this stone rock? Jeez. I guess so. I mean, iron would have been much appreciated, but there you go. I guess the stone will be useful for something. So we did skip forward to a third day, and as we can obviously see, Nook is talking to Timmy about the shop. We didn't manage to get all of the iron that we needed. I think I'm missing like 2 or 3, so I'm going to have to pop over to a Nook Mile Island, or Mystery Island, whatever they're called, and just gather the remaining iron, which is a bit of a pain, especially missing out on like by 2-3 pieces. So close, so annoying, but there we go, these things happen. So, having been given the quest to gather the iron and the various bits of wood, I'm on a mystery island and I'm going to be doing that. And obviously decimating the island while we're at it, so might as well take some coconuts and things. See, if you wanted to know who the villager is, it's Rhonda. What a beautiful girl. But we will be ignoring her. We're going to be doing the villager hunt on this island pretty soon, and yeah, we'll be hunting for the lazy, peppy and the normal villagers. But the point of this mission is to gather the materials. Okay, so our island excursion has been pretty successful, and I have managed to gather all the materials I needed. I have embarrassingly got stung by wasps, which I'm pretty sure I bragged earlier in the video that hasn't happened to me in such a long time, but them the breaks, I guess. Anyway, let's get back to, obviously, California, and pass these various materials on to Timmy and get the shop sorted. Oh my, you brought in everything we need all at once. Are you really going to provide all 4 kinds of materials right now? You better believe it. I even got stung for you, Timmy. Okay, so now I'm tasked with placing down the shop, so let's run over to the right hand side of the island as is tradition and see if we can fit it in this space. There seems like there's plenty of room here, but let's just double check because these are always bigger than I expect them to be. In fact, that's perfect. Fantastic. So when I skip forward to tomorrow, the shop and the museum should be sorted. And so guys, as you can see, Nook's Cranny and the museum are both open. We've moved into a house, so I think it's time to say goodbye for this episode. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please hit like and consider subscribing if you haven't done already. And hopefully, you'll join me for the next video in California. Obviously we'll be doing the villager hunt, trying to get the normal, the peppy and the lazy. So yeah, hope to see you there. But I want to say a massive thank you, hope to see you in the next video, and until the next time, have a good one. Cheers guys!